again, hi, nice to meet you. If you're new around here and if you are returning, thanks for coming back. Another little installment of the skincare Saturday or Sunday, weekend, whatever day I can be bothered getting up. Didn't have one last weekend either because again, just actually, not because I'm living my life, because I'm back at work. Well, back at shift work, which means I don't have every weekend off now. So I'm not working kind of Monday to Friday anymore, 9 to 5. I'm now working 12.5 hour, 13-hour shifts, day shift, night shift, etc. Brain, body is feeling it, not gonna lie. So, didn't have one last weekend and that's just the way it fucking is. Anyway, this one is gonna be all about acids. Not the kind you used to put on your tongue and take and have a good old trip. Not that I was ever doing that. The kind from the 70s, not that stuff. The stuff we might put on our face that you might want to use for a bit of exfoliation. That's what this video is going to be about. I am going to tell you as much as I possibly know. Little disclaimer at the start here, I have said it in a few videos, and if you look at my drop down box in any of these videos, I always state I am not a skincare expert, I am a skincare enthusiast. I do have some medical knowledge. I try and read reputable sources for the information I get, but it's not always right. So just before we actually get into the alpha hydroxys, the beta hydroxys, and the, what are they called, polyhydroxys, all that kind of stuff, I just want to give a little shout out to the ascorbic acid powder. I have spoke about this on my vitamin C video. You can go up here and see it if you like. This is one I particularly like. I like using for my vitamin C, etc. But in that vitamin C video, I did say, this says it's 100%. What does that mean? Who knows? I have no idea. It means it's the pure powder, but I didn't know if when you were mixing it, that meant it made it a slightly different strength. And like I said, I am not an expert. I did a little bit of reading into it. And then I seen Michelle, who's over at Lab Muffin, very, very successful YouTube site, but also a proper like professional, not Scientologist, again, that's a religion, cosmetic cosmetologist, done a video all about the percentages in skincare, and I found it fascinating. So actually, could be a little more detrimental to your skin if you're just being like, oh, I'm gonna put 2 skips on and it's not measured out properly, etc. I have to say, I've not found any like irritation or damaging when I've used it. The way I've been using it, I've been quite happy. But I thought very important, and we should know about all sides of the coin, shouldn't we? That's the way I see it. It should be more of a discussion. I've said that before in these videos. And if you find other information that kind of, what I'm saying, you're like, well, actually I've seen this, please put it below, because I'm all about the learning. So I'm gonna link that video below because I found it so interesting, and I did say in my vitamin C video, I wasn't quite sure about what that meant. So go and check it out, I think it's very important. Let's now get into the video about alpha hydroxys, beta hydroxys, polyhydroxys, and acids, and what you should be using on your face, and why you should use them, why you shouldn't, and what they do. So let's start off with alpha hydroxy and beta hydroxy, probably because they are the most known, spoken about, exfoliant type things in skincare at the moment. I think they've been about for some time now, and majority of people probably know what they are. But here comes the slightly science bit that I'm going to try my best to explain and probably butcher the names of some things. Alpha hydroxy and beta hydroxy, why are they named that? They are two very different things for a start. Alpha hydroxy acids are long chain molecules, carbon molecules, I believe, carbon and hydrogen molecules, and they happen to have something at the end of the chain that is called a carboxylic, I can't say it, I'll put it here, you know what I'm like. Hold on, I'm just going to see how you do say that, because sometimes I embarrass myself.
Carboxylic.
Carboxylic. Useless as ever. So a carboxylic acid group at the end of that long chain. What I believe, or have tried to fathom out of reading some stuff, is that the alpha hydroxy acid is named so because it comes off the A carbon, so that carboxylic or whatever it is comes off the A carbon, and beta hydroxy acids come off the B carbon, so like the next in the chain. So that's why they're called beta hydroxy acids. So things such as alpha hydroxy acids are glycolic acid, and things that are beta hydroxy acid are things like salicylic acid. That is just 2 to name, but there are many. But that's kind of the 2 I could pluck out my brain because I'm a mere mortal. So what do AHAs do? They are seen, I have mentioned this again in my hydrating and moisturising video. They are an exfoliant. They help de-slough and break up the dead skin cells on the top of the skin to like be able to wipe that away. But they also soften the glue that holds it together. They soften all that up so that basically you can kind of de-slough the top layer, but also promote new cell production underneath. That is essentially what an AHA is supposed to do. As I said already, glycolic is probably one of the most common ones we know. Lactic acid is also one, and you can get these mixed solutions. I've got the ordinary one here. Can I do this without looking? The AHA and BHA, which has, does it have, what doesn't actually, it's probably lactic, but I'm not gonna lie. What one is it? This is one that I've thrown the bottle away on, so I don't know the full list of ingredients, and I'd have to go and check it out. I'm not gonna do it right now. But I'm sure the BHA in that is salicylic acid, and the AHA may well be lactic, I'm not sure. Go and check it out yourself. AHAs are mainly used for things like hyperpigmentation, age spots, melasma, stuff like that. Scars sometimes as well, they can sometimes help with that. Enlarged pores, possibly. They can say uneven skin tone, fine lines, wrinkles, all that kind of stuff as well. But for the most part, it is about exfoliating. So if you left your skin, if you never exfoliated your skin, you probably have quite dry skin, which is gonna make your skin look a bit more craggy, a bit more uneven, and probably look a bit aged if you've never exfoliated it, if you've got very dry skin. It doesn't look fresh and dewy and youthful. I'm really overexposed. This camera is doing my nut in. You probably noticed in the last video. Now I've pushed the wee button that means don't be overexposing me. Hopefully it stays like that. Yeah, so they can help with a lot of things like that. I also spoke about the fact that AHAs can also help hold water. They can act as a humectant as well, and that's where PHAs come in, and as I say, we will speak about them at the end of the video. You might find though, with a lot of really well-known AHA solutions, they might already have a PHA in the ingredient. So if there's something that's claiming to be like a moisturizing / exfoliating treatment for the skin, then it might be because it has both in, even though on the front of the bottle it'll be like AHA exfoliant. It might have both. Now I did read that both AHA and BHA can help with inflammation, which sometimes would help people who have things like rosacea. What my concern would be with that is AHAs and BHAs are notoriously known to be very irritant. So if you did have something like rosacea or a really bad dermatitis or something like that, like just be aware. As I've always said, you should always be like patch testing these things anyway. Don't just put that kind of stuff straight on your face, especially if you're known to have sensitive skin. Both can help with the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Both can apparently help with kind of age spots, all that kind of stuff. All the stuff I mentioned, but the main thing that is different between BHAs and AHAs is AHAs are water soluble. They will get into those kind of under layers, but the BHAs are actually lipid soluble or fat soluble. So that means they can actually probably get into the pores even better. They also help with sebum production. So people who have overly sebaceous skin, acne prone skin, if you have breakouts quite a lot, you might actually find that BHAs work better for you or were more effective for what you're looking for. AHAs are much more a kind of all-round, I'm going to just slough away the top of the dead skin and make you have a nice smooth visage, whereas BHAs are more actively targeting things. Now personally, I have used lactic acid, I've used glycolic acid, I've used lots of different types of acids. I didn't get on with salicylic acid, but again, I think from learning what I know now as opposed to maybe 3 years ago, I wouldn't necessarily use salicylic acid in the same way. BHAs, as I say, much more effective on acne, much more effective on spot prone skin. Does that mean to say I'd be like, yeah, slap it all over your physog? Personally, no. Other people, that might really work really well. You might have a moisturizer with salicylic acid in it that is keeping your breakouts like under control like nobody's business. But for me, I found when I was using like a toner with salicylic acid in it and using it all over my face, it irritated the life out my skin. I ended up really itchy, it was sore, it then got very dry and flaky as well. Wasn't for me. But I would not rule out using a salicylic acid on kind of treatment areas. If I had a big zit going on here, Would I put a little bit of salicylic acid on this top? Possibly. Yeah, I would probably do that. Also, with regards to the AHA BHA peel solution, this does have salicylic acid in it, but what I will say is you are only supposed to put this on for 10 minutes and you do rinse it off at the end. So that is very different from me using a toner with salicylic acid in it. I personally have found salicylic acid in me don't get on, but that's not to say I will totally never use a BHA, because I do use it in this. And I'm not saying that they don't have their place and that they could be very, very useful for many people. As I was saying though, AHAs and BHAs are notorious for being irritants, and they can really, like I say, make you very itchy, flaky, dry. They can sometimes make rosacea and things like that actually worsen. So what I would say is just be aware. Always patch test, always do that. And actually look at your ingredients. With regards to what I said earlier about the percentages, why do they need to be certain percents? I read a very interesting article on Beauty Brains that basically said that the FDA approves alpha hydroxy acids, anything over the counter, at 10%. Whereas if it was in the kind of more 20 to 30% realm, that should really be a trained cosmetologist that was using that. Which makes this very interesting, because this is the AHA 30% and BHA 2% peel solution. So I found that quite interesting. Maybe because we're in Europe, the standards are slightly different. And again, if you know that, please let me know. I could go and research it, I just haven't yet. But maybe because we're in Europe, that's slightly different. I was always under the impression that strengths and things in America, they got away with a little bit more. But maybe not, maybe not. If you're a doctor performing a treatment for like an acid peel, a proper acid peel that you would go to a clinic for, or you know, those things, what would we used to watch? Was it 10 Years Younger? Remember that program? And they all used to get acid peeled, like all of them, and they would come out looking like they'd painted their face with this stuff, the red stuff, but unfortunately it was their skin. But weeks later their skin looked fantastic, but it was done professionally by a doctor, by someone who knew what they were doing. The strengths can be up to 50 to 80%. I cannot imagine how much that must nip. Surely they must put some sort of numbing cream on the top before they do that. Let's hope. But as it is sold over the counter, as far as I'm aware, kind of 10% is the safe realm. I don't know how The Ordinary are getting away with this, or not getting away with it. I'm sure they're not doing anything illegal, but I'm not sure why that is. Maybe because we're in Europe, it's slightly different. But again, does that mean like, do you need to have anything stronger? I really like this product. I cannot say that I don't like this product. I do not use it. It says you can use it up to twice a week, I'm sure. 2 to 3 times a week. Again, I don't have the box. That's usually why I keep the boxes. But what I would say is that I use this once a fortnight, maybe once a week, but sometimes once a month. It depends on what my skin is needing. If I just finished some night shifts there, and I felt what my skin needed after those night shifts was hydration, plumping, juice. It needed that. So I wasn't gonna go using this. What I done instead was put on a really nice hydrating face mask, slept with it on overnight, and then even the next day when I was going about the house, because I don't wear makeup when I go to night shift, I just have a bare face, and I put on one of those masks to then just dot about the house doing my housework. That's what I needed for my skin to be like, yeah, I really needed a pick-me-up. But now that I've done that over the last couple of days, I feel like, you know, actually maybe my skin could have this at the weekend. Maybe my skin would have a little exfoliation treatment at the weekend. I'm actually back on nights at the weekend, so I'll not be doing it, but you get my point. It's very much down to your skin. Like I said at the very start, in the start of this series, in the start of these videos, you need to think about what your skin needs. If you do have something like an eczema, a dermatitis, very dry, itchy, flaky skin, I personally am going to say I would steer clear of this. But seek professional advice, because it also has been said that using something like an alpha hydroxy acid on eczema can help get rid of the dry, flaky skin on the top layer. So maybe if you used a really low strength one, that would actually help. But when anybody asks me and they've got known to have really sensitive skin, eczema, one of my best friends has quite bad eczema breakouts, and I would always say to her, like, I wouldn't be trying something like an acid. I've used the lactic acid, hold on, I'll grab it. I've used the lactic acid from The Ordinary for a long time now. This also has hyaluronic acid in it. It is a 10% strength. It comes in 5 as well, I believe. I started off with 5. If you're going to get into acids, I would always say, first of all, obviously patch test, but if you feel that's fine, you want to take it to the next step, then I would start off with the lowest percentage. Again, how much do we know about percentages? I think it is definitely becoming a bit of a marketing tool, a way to make people think like if you've got the higher percent, it's going to do a better job. Not necessarily. So give the lower one a go. I would always start off in a low strength. As I've said before, I've got quite hardy skin. I don't have overly sensitive skin, but I still would never go straight in with a super strength. The same way this tells me I'm to put it on for 10 minutes. Am I going to wear it for half an hour? No. Actually, the first time I put this on, I only put it on for 5 minutes because I thought I don't want to do myself any damage. I have had it on for 15. This is my face, I'm allowed to do that. But what I would say is stick to the guidance. They've been made a certain way for a certain reason, and the reason the companies make them that way and use that guidance to tell you how to use them is generally because that's the way they should be used. Don't listen to me saying that I've put mine on for 15 minutes, even though I have. I'm not an angel, it's my face at the end of the day, but go by the guidance on the bottle, that's what I would say. Now, the lactic acid from The Ordinary, I'm sure is made from pepperberry, is it? Something like that. Again, I don't have the box for this one anymore, but it is a vegan option. You can also get lactic acid from things like milk. We actually make lactic acid in our body as a byproduct of the Krebs cycle, I want to say. That's how sometimes you can find out like athletes have a build-up of lactic acid and you see them going into terrible like pain and things. Like if there's too much lactic acid in the body, it can be painful in your muscles and things like that. So good for exfoliating though. I find this one really good. I have used other brands. I actually have just done an order of a lot of Inculus stuff because I would like to be able to like look at them in comparison to The Ordinary and see kind of, well, what do I prefer. As I said, this one does have hyaluronic acid in it. What I tend to do with this is I do my skincare as normal, wash my face, damp skin, hyaluronic acid, then I put this on. Is that needed because it has hyaluronic acid in it? Probably not. Do I like doing it? Yes. Again, very personal, up to you and how you want to do things. Now I'm just going to give a little nod to the glycolic acid 7% toning solution here. This is probably the one, I've bought 2 of these. This is like over the years I've picked up 2 of them, but PHA obviously do the PHA Glow Tonic, which is a 5% glycolic acid. There is one from, is it Alpha AH, is it AHA? Oh, what's that? Alpha Gold? It's a relatively like well-known but expensive brand. I'll put a picture here if I can remember. They do one as well, which is 5% also, but I read quite an interesting article and it wasn't a scientific paper whatsoever. It was just a lady reviewing different kinds of glycolic toners. And she actually had some litmus paper, like pH paper. And I use litmus paper in work to test gastric stomach contents. Lovely, I know. But I actually thought, I'm gonna pinch a little strip of that and I am gonna test this, because when she done it, it says that the pH of this is 3.6, but when she done it, it looked more like 5. Just saying, again, it's like 7%. Ooh, is that then just marketing? Because when this lady has tested this, it actually had a pH closer to actual skin. Not saying that's bad. The pH of the PHA Glow Tonic was exactly the same, but the Alpha one, oh God, I wish I could remember the name of that brand. The kind of fancy expensive one, which was also a pH of 5, actually had a pH closer to 3.2 or something. The same kind of pH of vinegar. So, just some food for thought there. I do actually really like this. Again, this is not something I would use every single day, although lots of people do. Lots of people use the PHA Glow Tonic every single day as well. And I feel like if I ever get a friend coming to me and saying, where do I start with acids? This is usually where I would point them. Not necessarily this one, the PHA one as well if you want, the Lacura one from Aldi if you want, but a glycolic toning solution is usually where I point them, because I don't want to advise somebody to go ahead and start using a 10% lactic acid and then they burn their face off, or even the BHA fluid solution, because I just don't want to risk that if they've never ever branched out into it before. As I said, I don't use this every single day, but it is something that can be quite safely used with like serums. As I said before as well about pH, like you shouldn't be kind of mixing a low pH with high pH, blah blah blah, if this is the real pH. But I would say, like, don't go using your lactic acid alongside something like a peptide serum, because your peptide serum is going to be more alkali and it kind of just defeats the purpose, or that's what I understand of it. That might not be true. But what I would say is that something like this could probably be used quite safely with your BHA serum or your peptide serums. It's not going to affect it in the same way. It's a bit more of a balancing agent. It's really just helping even out that sebum on top of the skin. So if you are somebody that feels like you have a problem with breakouts and oil or dull skin, this might be a good place to start. Whereas if you're someone who feels like, actually I would prefer something that's a little bit more of an overnight treatment, I want something that's going to be really good in exfoliating, I would point you in the direction of this, and again, starting on the lower percentage. The lactic acid, again, I do not use, like, you know, religiously. I don't have days where I'm like, okay, on a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, this is what I'm going to put on my face. It's acid night. And on a Tuesday, Thursday, I'm going to use retinol. Although, at the moment, I am doing that because I'm starting a new retinol regime, and you have to do it kind of twice a week for the first couple of weeks, and then every other night for the next couple of weeks, and then eventually every night. I don't know how I'll get on with that, because I feel a little bit like I like using other things, but we shall see, we shall see. So the lactic acid I do not use, you know, religiously every second night or anything like that. Sometimes I might use it 3 times a week, sometimes I might use it once a week. Again, it just depends. I do enjoy it though. I do like the feeling it gives me. I do feel that it does a really good job of kind of a gentle exfoliate, and this is the 10%, but I don't feel like it nips. I don't feel like it burns. This one, however, the AHA BHA peel solution, there is a tingle to it. There is a little bit of nipping to it. Do not put it on any open skin. That's just a no-go. Also, as I kindly found out, don't wax your top lip and then do it, because that is fucking agony. Again, just be careful when you're using it on open skin or open pores and stuff. It can nip. Be very aware of that. If it isn't bearable, wash it off. Put some bicarb soda on your face. Do not leave it on and think, do you know what? Pain is gain. Don't do that. Don't do that. So as I said, there's a lot out there for kind of alpha hydroxy acids. BHAs, I am in no way, shape or form as informed about, and that's probably because when I did use salicylic or something with salicylic acid in it, I didn't like it. So I just can't give you as much information. But as I say, what a BHA does is gets a little deeper into the pores and helps with sebum and helps with oil production and cleans out the pores. So if you did have oily, sebaceous or acne prone skin, that would be where I would point you for that. Again though, I would probably say, you know, use it as a spot treatment until you build up and you think, do you know what, actually my skin's tolerating this fine, and actually I would benefit from using it all over my face. So PHAs, I think most recently these are the ones that are being very buzzed about at the moment. I've seen them in the Ole Henriksen fat toner mask or whatever. No, it's not a toner, fat facial mask or something like that. It's like PHAT mask of some sort. I have seen that the Inculist have something like a polyglutamate acid, and I did try and look into that and see, like, the way it reads to me like it might be a PHA, but they haven't outright said it's a PHA. They're kind of selling it more of a bigger brother to hyaluronic acid, just so you know. Also, hyaluronic acid is an acid, obviously, but is absolutely in the hydrator, humectant category. So if you want to see that, the moisturising stuff is up here. But PHAs are something that I'm on the fence about. I feel like they've been around for a long time. I'm sure there was a research paper done in 2004 saying that they were like very safe on the skin, they had benefits for the skin, etc. But when you do a quick Google search of PHAs, like what are PHAs in skincare, it's all very much like beauty magazines and like Allure and Vogue and all of these different things basically telling you like why PHAs are the new thing. PHAs are also included in the Glossier solution. That's probably somewhere else that I know them. No, sorry, that just came to my mind there. So PHAs are basically alpha hydroxy acids, and they have been around for a long time. But as I say, alpha hydroxy acids and beta hydroxy acids can be very irritant. So therefore, somebody in their wisdoms came along in the beauty space and been like, oh, here, PHAs, which are usually used in food and stuff like that, because they're close to the way glucose is made up. A molecule of glucose is kind of very similar, and they hold on to water the way carbohydrates like glucose do as well. So not only do they help exfoliate, they also help to be a humectant and hold water, which means they end up giving less irritation. The other reason that means they have less irritation is because they are larger AHA molecules. They are AHAs, but they are larger, so they do not penetrate down into the skin the same way that AHAs do, which means they might be less effective. But for people who have very sensitive and irritable skin, that might be exactly what they are needing, because they can be very hydrating and very gentle, and they sit on the skin for longer, so it means that they slowly release into the skin, not quite as deep, but exfoliate the top layers gently. It's mainly on the top layers. They don't really go any deeper. So there's part of me that thinks, is this all marketing? Do we need PHAs? We've already got AHAs. But personally, as someone who doesn't have overly sensitive skin, I don't think it's fair of me to say that, because actually, maybe a PHA would be really useful for someone like my friend who has the eczema. Again, I'm not saying you go and put that on your face, Charlie, but just so you know. PHAs, they are actually getting a lot of hype around them just now, but I personally just feel a little bit like, what do I need it for if I'm using, you know, an AHA with a humectant? Dr. Dre, for instance, is a big fan of PHAs, because actually one of the other things that they're really good for is the way that they're made up, and they don't penetrate through to the skin. There is less likely that they will cause sun damage. AHAs, BHAs, retinols as well, we'll include them in there, although different video for that. AHAs and BHAs will cause sun sensitivity, and if you are using something like a lactic acid, I would always use it at night. It's something I would always use at night time. The reason being, it makes your skin more photosensitive, more light sensitive to UVA damage and burning. So therefore, even, you know, I feel like of course you would put a sunscreen on anyway, but why use something that's going to make that worse? I would use it at night before I go to bed. That is me personally. But a PHA could actually be used in the morning to help with hydration, help with some exfoliation in a cream of some sort. But you could put a sunscreen over the top of it, and it would actually not aggravate the fact that you become more sensitive to sun damage. So that's something else to think about. I find them quite interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to splurge out on one yet. I don't think there's any that are really like cheap and cheerful yet. So I don't know if I'll go splurging on one yet. But if I did, I might try. I might try the Ole Henriksen. Maybe I'll try that one day. But I just feel like it'll be something that I'll buy, and then I'll be like, I totally didn't need this. It didn't do what I wanted it to. But devil's advocate, I cannot say that because I have not tried it. So as a general rule of thumb, what I'm gonna say is, if you've never used acids before, please patch test. Please do not just put things on your skin. You can actually worsen things like pigmentation and scarring by putting highly damaging acids on your skin. So please, please be careful. Please read the guidance on whatever it is you're buying and follow that. Don't listen to me and put it on for 10 minutes longer than you're supposed to, because that is not a good idea. If you are starting out though and you don't know where to start, I would say get yourself a glycolic toner, a toning solution of some sort with glycolic acid in it. It doesn't need to be super strength. As far as I'm aware, I've seen a lot of people who have had a lot of success with the 5% Pixie Glow Tonic. Some people, Michaela McDade, she actually prefers the Pixie Glow Tonic and the Lacura one even more because it's cheaper. I do really like this and I would pick it up again, but as I say, I'm a finicky bastard and I like to try a lot of different things. So I'm not saying I will definitely purchase this again, but this is my second one and I have purchased it before. So I can't rule it out. I think it's good. I'm gonna get the litmus paper from work though. I'll maybe just even clarify that here for you. I'll squeeze a wee video in over the top and we'll just see what the fucking pH of this is. It says 3.6. Let's find out. If you have used something like a glycolic toner before and you've been using it for a long time and you think, I want to step the game up a little bit, then yes, you could try something like the lactic acid. You don't go in at the strongest one, that's what I would say. Again, patch test. And again, don't use it every single night. Like, work it up. Give it once a week, give it twice a week. See what your face needs that week and go from there. You do not need to be putting it on every single night. Also, if you're using this at night time, I would absolutely make sure that you're putting on a factor SPF of 50 the day after. And I would probably say use it more at night. I'm not saying that's what you have to do, but I would ideally tell you that. And as for the peel solution, now I don't think I mentioned it there, but people say this is a dupe for the Drunk Elephant Baby Secura, whatever it's called, baby facial, Secura baby facial. It's a fraction of the cost. I would say it does a really, really good job. I really, really enjoy it. Again, I wouldn't say go putting it on an hour on your face, especially if it was the first time you're using it. Give it the respect that it's owed and be careful. I'm not sure about this 30% and how that works with regards to the FDA saying that most over-the-counter stuff should be 10%. If anybody does, please let me know. But it is really, really good. It does say, you know, use it 2 to 3 times a week. I don't feel I need that. If you're looking for a treatment option though, it's a very cheap and cheerful and kind of fun because it makes you look like you've got blood all over your face, like it's Halloween type thing. It's nearly autumn. Shh. I'm trying to kid myself on, that's not true, but maybe, you know, for Halloween you could use this as a joke. But I really, really enjoy this. I think it's very, very good. And this is probably the 3rd one of these that I've purchased over the last couple of years, 3 years. Probably buy one a year. It lasts that long. How long do you get? 12 months, so it does last that long, so that's fine. As I said, salicylic acid, I can't give you a recommendation because I'm not that keen on it. The Ordinary do one, the Inculus do one as well. There's loads, there's absolutely loads. Garnier have these toners with it in it. There's a lot of stuff, especially if it is catered towards acne prone skin, young kind of teenage skin, sebaceous skin, probably would have something like a salicylic acid in it. So with that in mind, just, you know, if you have ever reacted to kind of that kind of stuff before, just remember, you know, your face might not like it all everywhere, but maybe use it as a treatment. See, so like just over the top of a really big nasty red spot, see how you feel about that. And PHAs, as I said, I'm on the fence. I don't know whether I'll buy one or not. I'm not sure where we'll go from here. I will keep you in the loop because I'm interested in them, but I'm yet to purchase one. Anyway, that is it. I hope this has been useful. Hopefully I've managed to keep it a little bit shorter this week, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye.